You're listening to Parasearch Radio, news, views and reviews from the world of the paranormal from across the UK and beyond. Find us on Facebook, Twitter and the World Wide Web. Parasearch UK Radio. Parasearch Radio, broadcasting to the UK and beyond.
The views and opinions expressed by presenters and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Parasearch Radio or its affiliates and sponsors. Listener discretion is advised. You're listening to Kerry Greenaway and Mark Manley on the Dark Mirror Paranormal Show, only on Parasearch Radio.
Good evening and welcome to the Dark Mirror Show. Oh, I forgot my cue then, boys. Forgot my cue. Did you hear that? Bit of a pause there. Pregnant pause, I would like to say. My name is Kerry Greenaway and you are listening to the Friday night show, all to do with the paranormal, the Dark Mirror Show. Now, before we begin, a little shout out to my lovely Mark Manley. Unfortunately, he can't join us tonight. The sickness bug is hitting the Parasearch team well and truly. But I've dug one of them off the sick bed, so he was... Carl. Good evening, Carl. How are you?
I would say I'm spiffing and 100%, but the real truth is I'm just about there. I'm just about living. Still coughing, still feeling like I've been hit by a truck every time I breathe. But I'm here. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Dark Mirror Show.
And because Mark's not here, I've dragged Paul on. Good evening, Paul. He hasn't got a clue what we're doing tonight.
Good evening.
Flying by the seat of your pants, Mr. Rook, aren't you, bless you?
Absolutely. We just blasted it out of the ballpark, I think. And actually, when Cole said that he was coughing, I thought we was going to go straight into the link with the next topic.
It's a good link. It's a link that the one show would be well and truly loving it.
They would have.
We'd have had that one. You know, I can't sing because my vocal cord sounds like I'm Barry White's love child.
Well, we have made an executive decision for the Dark Mirror Show, and we've changed format, haven't we, Carl?
Yes. It's going to be a weird one, to be truthfully honest. I think the way we're going to do it for the Dark Mirror going forward, I think it's going to be it's going to be a bit like Newsround, John Craven's Newsround. Whoever's old enough out there to listen to that. Gosh, so we're going to give you the news and spills from the paranormal community, and then we're going to move on to a topic.
I think speaking about Barry White's love child, I think isn't that topic number 2 that you're talking about tonight?
Not Barry White's, but the is a love child being involved.
And joining us all the way from the US of A, my lovely Jay Lynch, who is actually live and kicking at Paranormal Toledo right now. Hi guys, how are you?
See all them people?
Is that the gentleman in the hat? Is that who I think it is?
It most certainly is.
Right? The one and only Christopher Rachel.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Oh,
Welcome
it's
to.
really good to see you.
Surprise!
I love surprises like this.
Actually, you're at the Collingwood Arts Centre now.
So you're at the Collingwood Arts Centre.
Amazing place.
Okay.
Right now, right now I'm on the middle of the stage. You won't be able to see it because it's dark, but I am on the middle of the stage in the theater part of it. It's huge.
No, we can see it, Joe. We can definitely see it, and you've got the lights behind, but you can't. You can see it, and love the dungarees as always.
Well, you knew I was going to be wearing my bibs, man, or dungarees.
Absolutely.
So, but it's absolutely amazing location. Teresa tried to turn the light around, and it still doesn't help any. The place is huge. It's got a beautiful facility. It used to be let me tell this right, an all-girls Catholic school and college.
My kind of place.
So it's got 2 different wings to it. It's got 5 floors to each wing, and they're full of classrooms and things. Behind the stage area here, back up in behind here, and you go. There's a set of stairwells. You get like 4 or 5 floors, 6 floors. It goes to the where the nuns used to sleep. We've had some amazing experiences in there.
How long have you been there, Joe?
We just got here about 10 or 15 minutes ago. This will be like this is our 4th event here for the Paranormal Toledo. Teresa and I with Jason have investigated this place probably 12, 13 times.
Wow.
It's amazing.
I have a couple of friends that are heading your way, so if you get accosted by somebody when Carl says hello, I do apologise.
Heck no, if they come to me and say Carl says hello, I might pinch their butt. No, I'm kidding.
No, do it, honestly.
They probably would like it.
Carl says hello, they'll love you pinching their butt.
You did warn them about me correctly?
Of course I did. You know.
Okay.
Yeah,
as long as you warned them, I don't give a crap what I say and do now.
No. They're adults. They know what the score is.
Well, at least one of us be the adults.
So, Jay, give me a bit of a rundown of what's happening there this weekend.
Well, it's Paranormal Toledo. This is the 4th annual one. It's all for raising funds for the Collingwood Arts Center. Every bit of the proceeds goes back into the building for historical preservation and continuous upkeep. They have guest speakers. Shatan Noor will be here. She does cryptozoology and stuff. Of course, you already saw Rachel and Christopher Booth. They'll be speaking this weekend and have a presentation of other things. Tina Marie Ronan, who's going to be sneaking past the stage here behind me in a minute. She's an amazing lady with her Reiki and there she goes. She's got her wonderful thing set up. She has the Three Sisters smudging, heirloom haberdasheries, and Nature's Earthenware. She does custom jewelry, steampunk items. So it's just a lot of things. I mean, it's just amazing. It's going to be here. Scott Tepperman and Jim O'Rear from Los Bastards Productions will be here. So we're selling them. We're talking about movie making and filming and stuff. There's a plethora of things to do. And speakers that'll be here, food truck, vending, and like I said, it all goes back into the building to help out the building. So
apart from yourself, Jay, obviously being top of the bill, who would you say is the biggest one on the bill?
Well,
just for our listeners, because obviously our listeners from the UK just are thinking, okay. Everybody must have heard of the gentleman in the hat, which we said hello to, Mr. Booth. Amazing gentleman. But who else we got?
Oh, like I said, you got Jim O'Rear, Scott Tedman with Los Bastards Productions, Tina Marie, Joe Kudo will be here. Oh, God, I'm trying to think off the top of my head, so you guys are kind of getting me right now.
KD will be there, KD Stafford.
Who?
KD Stafford.
KD actually was going to be here, but got caught up. I guess he's got to do a new filming project.
Oh, that's a shame. So they got caught
up. Yeah,
I thought he might have been going to. I thought he might have been going to Mass, to be truthful, Mass Paragon.
No, he was coming here, and they got called away for a project that he's got to go work on. So he's got caught up by that. So it's got to kind of. He won't be able to make it. He's had to stop off for another thing. But yeah, there's just so many. Wrestling with Ghost guys will be here, and Paranormal TV. Luke Walker and Vinny Vineyard, they'll be here. So it's going to be a good time. It's going to be absolutely amazing. And like I said, it's all for good cause.
Well, you have to give the lovely Luke and Vinny a big smacky kiss from me, because you know I love them guys.
Last time I did that for you, they slobbered on me.
I know, but this is the effect I have on them.
Do me a favour, Jay. Can you give the lovely Mr. Booth a big smacker from myself?
Oh, I will definitely be more than happy to give a Booth a smacker for you.
and just tell him I want his hat.
Jay is just going to be going around smackarooning everybody, and they're all going to be like these UK people, very free and easy. Hiya.
Hello.
You guys need to get Miss Tina Marie running on there. With all she does with Reiki and everything else, she's a wonderful person to talk to.
I'm actually speaking
I have it
from my most easiest investigation to one of my most violent
She does some great guided meditations.
So
Also,
she just dropped in from my most easy investigation to my most frightening investigation, and then just casually wanders off.
Yeah, right.
well, yeah.
What's that all about?
Set up. She set up her booth there.
If you're
She's
supposed to be our roving reporter, Jay,
Well, I'm also
on the floor, you should be following her and finding out more.
Running
I'm
after
also-
these people.
You're working it, but I'm not. I'm kind of sitting here talking to you. I'm gonna cruise around the building a little bit. I wish I could turn the camera around to show you more of the building, and I will when we're going to go to the front side of it. It's an amazing location. It's absolutely huge, and it's you just.
I think Jay.
I mean, that's what-
Jay, you're patching. You're starting to
I
patch
think
with
Jay
your
will be losing a
connection.
little bit of signal.
Oh,
See?
no, hang on.
Movement.
Getting stronger. It's like chasing the connection around Collingwood Arts Centre.
What I'm going to say is run, Jay, run.
It is quite big, this place, though. We're watching Jay walk through the building as he's trying to find a better connection.
Yeah.
Should have stayed where he was, I feel.
This is
Should
the
have stayed
time
there.
that when we do these sort of shows, when we got Jay over in the States or we got any of the guests on there, it'd be good at some point what we need to do, and we need to work out the software so people can actually see us and see what Jay's up to on the roving reporter. So
I know, definitely. It's still something I am working on, trust me. I have not forgotten about that particular project.
In
Oh,
trouble.
where are we?
Jay's outside now.
Walked outside. Hold on a second. I'm getting it fixed so I don't get locked outside. There we go. So, in the rain.
That's better. Now you've got connection. Wow.
I went outside.
That is one.
I went outside
building.
in the rain just for you guys.
But
Yeah, but us Brits
wow.
like the rain. We like it.
There's the building.
That is
building is
absolutely
huge.
awesome. It is enormous. Absolutely enormous, everybody. Looking at this, what would you describe it as, guys?
I would
goth feel?
describe it as kind of like Hogwarts.
Yeah.
With a load of moss growing up the side of it, but it's obviously like creepers and stuff like that. It looks like a Victorian, say, one of the old, what you would describe in the UK as a Victorian school building. So
Yeah.
it's big, it's 4 or 5
Yeah.
floors, got the roof, but it's also got the history and all the stuff on the side.
Paul,
And of course,
are
you get the
still with
basement.
us?
With this,
Yeah, I'm still there. Yeah.
Jay?
oh, Paul's with us. I haven't heard him say a word.
He hasn't
I
had
know
a
you was
chance, to
talking.
be fair.
No.
I haven't shut up so he could say anything, have I?
That's the Dark Mirror Show.
Absolutely.
Paul, have you got any questions for Jay?
No, not really. You've asked the ones I would have asked. No, I don't know. But then you dragged me on last minute, so I wasn't prepared.
That's very true.
I could have had a long list of questions, but yeah,
It's
2
just-
minutes before the show is not good.
What's the problem with that, Paul? As you know me, if you have a long list of questions, I might not have I got a short list of answers.
So Jay,
Very
obviously
true.
you're there at the moment.
Yes, sir.
Obviously you're at Toledo. Is it Toledo? Tornado?
Toledo.
Yeah, Toledo.
My brain's absolutely mush at the moment. I'm popping too many medication pills at the moment. So, you going to be doing any shows over the next week or so? Do you need somebody that's going to be in your time zone as a guest? You might know him, some English dude, you know.
Oh, he's a guest.
You know,
Are you pimping yourself there?
I might be just pimping myself because my trip to Vegas as of Tuesday, I'm going to be running around, but because my co-host on a Thursday, the lovely Sam, I think she doesn't realise I'm in Vegas. I don't really want to be running around like a headless chicken. So I'm going to have moments where I want to just drink, gamble, smoke, drink, gamble.
Well, you're on holiday, so you're gonna, aren't you?
Yeah.
Not
yeah,
if Sam's got anything to do with it. I would just like to say this.
No.
Oh, I do know. I've seen the itinerary that Sam's got planned.
I've seen the itinerary, and I sort of like that's probably where the cold came from. So, Jay, if you do need somebody at any point, an English dude with a very good accent and a plethora of knowledge of absolutely nothing, but talks an amazing story, you know where I am, sir.
Free, and you can fly me over anytime.
Exactly, and you can fly Paul over, and I'll pick him up at the airport.
Oh my God! Right, okay. Can we move on from this?
I don't know whether Jay can actually hear it.
I don't know if he
I can hear everything you're saying.
Oh, okay,
Okay.
cool. So whereabouts are you now? Are you in the? Are you in like the stall area?
This is actually where the administration buildings were and things. So this is where all the offices and the head office for the people in charge, the grand stairwell to it. So I figured out how to flip the camera around so you guys can actually see the place without having to look at my ugly mug.
I will just say this. I have to say, the UK kind of do you much better on the grand staircases.
Oh,
Yeah.
seriously?
That is not what we in the UK would class
That's
as
not
a grand staircase.
That to me, Kerry, looks like a back staircase.
Well, see,
Yeah,
but-
that's
I don't mean to be rude to the America, to Collingwood Arts Centre at all. Beautiful carved stairwell balustrades, beautifully carved, but you can't class that as a grand staircase.
oh,
Sorry.
Christopher, they can't. This is a grand staircase.
I must admit, we're MJ
sorry.
at the moment. We're MJ at the moment. Bell Plantation in Virginia. Now that's a grand staircase.
No, see, that's what I was going to say. If you get down south, you don't have as many in the north as what you do in the south, it seems like. But you get down in the south of the United States, it's all about their big plantation houses and all about how big the stairwell is and how big the entryway is. Because, it's all about making a statement as soon as you walk in.
Mm-hmm.
So,
But where you are now, Jay, that to me looks like tradesmen, like servants, because it's not harsh, it's not over whatever. It looks like it's an entrance way for staff to go through. But you
have to understand that one. That there was in the administrative portion of this building. It was
it would be staff.
It's not. It's in a home. This was an actual school. I'm going up the stairwell now that goes up to the second floor of the theater.
That's quite a nice staircase.
That's a nice staircase.
Nice
a nice a nice winding staircase up.
A nice marble floor.
Yeah, I tell you, this place is massive. Everybody, I can't.
I just say, this is great radio.
I do. Yeah, I know. It would be great if everybody could see what we're seeing. To be fair, wow, we now have come out onto an auditorium. Oh, I said that very poshly, didn't I? You can tell I'm watching The Crown at the moment. I've gone all English.
Yeah.
I'm speaking like the Queen. Badly.
When I first started with you guys, I was behind that light.
That's what you want to start with. Yeah.
That's where I started, down where Jason's at now, smiling up at you guys with his hands full so he can't wave.
Hey, Jay. Right. Is that area haunted?
Yes. We've had several activities in here. In fact, with the chairs, I've heard people sit down or hear them where they flop back up or somebody stood up when there's nobody else in the area with us. It's a beautiful building. It goes right on around to both sides. I don't know if I get in the door down there or not.
That area you're in now, Jay, with the marble and the two-tone and the wood, that is what I would describe as like a theatre, like where the public would go to before they go to their seats. So it's posh. That way you've just walked into, I would say, needs a good lick of paint. Probably take the graffiti off a bit.
Maybe.
So, well, I just thought I'd give you a quick look at the other end of the theater. Then down at the other side of it, if I can open up a doorway, I would actually open up into where a hallway to where a bunch of the classrooms were. And like I said, there was 5 floors of classrooms and 2 different wings. So it's absolutely walk around the stairwell. I walk around the theater area now. See, I'm passing all this theater area.
Yeah. So for the weekend, do you get access to the whole place?
Absolutely. We've actually filmed here twice now. We're getting ready to film a third time because we have not really truly been able to give the building its due with only filming twice here. There's so much to cover. so much going on. But yeah, this entire weekend there will be people who have access to the whole building. Plus, there's VIP tickets, which is only $50. That gives you access to film with. There you go. There's a hallway that goes into where.
That looks like a school.
It does. Yeah, it is exactly what you would imagine, guys. Of a private, of a school. I say a private school.
The corridors.
Yeah.
All the doors, the whitewashed walls, the floors.
So, what kind of phenomena do you
Can I just ask, what is that thing? Keep walking, Jay.
This is outside of Tower Paranormal.
Yeah.
They're one of the home.
Okay, now stop and turn. What's that? Oh, that's a hooded figure holding a skull.
That's one of the teams here, Tower Paranormal. They're one of the home teams here in the building. That's their office. And outside their office, they have the Grim Reaper holding a skull.
I would absolutely wet myself if that came to life and ran towards you and it freaked you out.
I would wet myself too, but not from laughing.
I think we would find it very funny over here in the UK.
I would say live on cam though for us would be absolutely hilarious.
I'd have to start live streaming on Facebook to show everybody what it's like.
Yeah,
That's an amazing.
I must admit, Jay, that's an impressive building.
Oh, and if I get this store over here's Jason's team's office, Lake Erie Paranormal. That's where I'll be working out of all weekend.
Wow.
Oh, and see, there goes into a whole another wing, another stairwell.
That's it.
And another
stairwell.
And another entire wing.
Are you going to have to sweep the building afterwards to make sure everybody's found their way out?
Yeah.
Because it looks like a maze, quite frankly.
I'll tell you what, if Jay pans down that corridor again, that's one amazing bowling alley.
It is, isn't it?
That isn't it? Yeah.
You could really polish that thing up, put some whatever at the bottom, and bowl some dwarfs down it.
So, at the end of the investigation, I wouldn't sweep around that place. I would just literally set the fire alarms off and wait. If no one come out after 10 minutes, if no one was out in 10 minutes, leave them there.
Just for our English listeners, what state are you actually in?
We're in Ohio.
Oh, okay.
Northwest corner of Ohio.
So anybody that's listening that has got bugger all to do this weekend and fancies go and take the mickey out of Jay for the weekend, go and prod him, poke him, or whatever you want to do, head yourself down to there. We'll put the links in the chat room. But yeah, no, anybody there, obviously I presume tickets are available on the door?
Come on, it's I think it's only like $10 a person getting the door. Like I said, it's a very reasonable cost because that way more people can come in. But all the proceeds do go to the Collingwood Art Center. Oh, look, here's a closet I'm not supposed to be in.
I'll tell you what, whoever the big black car in the middle of that car park cannot park. Look at it. Just flip the camera back round. You see the other two cars perfectly parked. That one who's the 4x4.
He's like just swung it in, isn't he?
I'm just gonna leave it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not your vehicle, is it?
That is almost like a redneck
No, it's not mine.
Speed up to it, skid into place,
Yeah.
done.
I'm here now. I'm here.
Well, it's not vlogs anyway.
Wow.
But that gives you a little bit of an idea of where I'll be spending my weekend at this weekend and the people that I'll be with. It's going to be an amazing weekend. This facility it's one of the ones that's absolutely dear to my heart. I love the place. I love what's going on here with being out. It's all for historical preservation.
Jay, I can imagine when those lights are off and the daylight's gone, that place will take on another level, won't it?
Oh, it sure does.
Yeah,
and
once you've got all the lights and the possible light anomalies that are coming in from the daylight from outside, and that's dark, especially walking on that stage with no light behind, that's going to be one full-on interesting location. Go on, scare those people, shout them.
They don't know that I'm here. They hear my big mouth.
Well,
wherever Jay is in the building, you know where he is.
Often where that lip is, and we'll wait for the next person, and you duck down, and then what?
I'm so far away they wouldn't even pay attention to me.
I was just going to go for a harmless plug. I wanted you to shout out Dark Mirror Show UK.
Always give the plugs.
You're very good at that, most definitely. Right, well, thank you so much for showing us around Collingwood Arts Centre and filling us in, and obviously giving a shout out to the few people that are there with you at this moment in time. Hey!
Here's Jason, my partner in crime.
What's up? Who are we talking to?
Talk to the UK.
What's up, everybody?
Get him a tour of the building. Let me flip the camera back around so they can see other ugly faces.
Oh, God. You don't want to see this at all.
Oh, there they go.
Hello.
What's up?
So Jason, what have you been up to lately? Because you're always busy.
I'm too busy, to be quite honest.
Your turn.
What am I doing? I gotta
talk to him.
Oh my God. We need to turn on the lights in the Gerber. Please.
Turn on some lights.
Turn on the lights. The party's over. Sorry. Yes, please. God, just lining up different investigations. You guys caught me off guard. I wasn't really expecting to do this. But...
And we are live in the UK as well. Well, live, but on the internet. So.
What a great first impression I'm making.
Turn on the lights, everybody. Turn on the lights.
That's right. Turn on the lights. But, we're just getting ready to film our last episode for Paranormal Mysteries. Mm-hmm. That's going to be the first weekend in November. Getting ready for this great convention. Trying to get everybody set up and tables ready and get everybody to do that so we can have a party later on and then get at it tomorrow morning. So
I hear there's going to be quite a party tonight, particularly as Vinny and Luke are coming down, as well as obviously Christopher St. Booth and his lovely wife. And all you guys there. So I can imagine it's going to get quite raucous later on.
It's going to get, yeah. And I'm sure there'll be Facebook Lives going all over the place. So
excellent. Glad to hear it. That's what we like to see, don't we, guys?
Yeah, there'll be some karaoke and some adult beverages and that kind of stuff. Yeah. We have a good time.
Carl, you're muted, darling.
Sorry, I'm suffering from a really bad cold and I've been coughing my guts up, so I do apologise. I just have to ask you one question. Where did you get your T-shirt from?
This T-shirt, I actually get it locally here. It represents law enforcement that I'm in, and then obviously the United States.
Right. Would you do me a massive favour? Can you give the link to Mr. J and tell him to send it to Carl?
Sure. You want one?
I want one of those T-shirts because they're cool.
He loves the T-shirt, doesn't he, Carl?
Yeah.
We can make that happen. That's for sure.
Awesome.
Talk to Jay, and that's great. Thank you very much.
Right, on that note, I'm going to have to cut you off, my darling. Thank you so much for joining us all the way from Collingwood Arts Centre and the Paranormal Toledo. Guys, don't forget you can turn up on the day for $10. Was that right?
Yes.
Yeah?
Absolutely.
And it's going on all this weekend. Some fantastic people speaking at Paranormal Toledo, including the Paranormal Mysteries guys. Obviously, my lovely Jay is going to be there. You've got Christopher and Rachel Booth in the house. Oh, there are so many people talking at this event. Tina Marie Ronan is there.
Yeah. This is what I miss, particularly when being in the UK. You have so many amazing conventions, this being one of them. Obviously, where MJ is at the moment in Virginia is another one. And there's so many amazing conventions. But yeah, I'd just like to put out anybody that is going to the convention that Jay's at, give him a pinch on the rear end and just say Carl sent you.
Carl sent you.
On that note, we're going to let you guys go. Thank you so much for joining us on the Dark Mirror Show. Have a great weekend, and we'll keep looking forward to those lives that are going to be coming from Collingwood Arts Centre. Bye. Right. Oh, that was a whirlwind tour, wasn't it?
It was a bit, yeah.
Guys.
But still done like half hour of the show, so that's fine.
I know.
Only an hour to go.
Only an hour to go. Did we not tell you that we're running over tonight?
Oh, did I tell you I was only available for the first hour?
The new format, we do a half an hour of the new format, then into the normal Dark Mirror, isn't it?
Format. Not
Oh,
really, no.
is that the time? I've got to go.
I've got right. So we've been looking at articles and things that have come up on the field in the last week, basically. And this is going to be sort of like how we go forward. We're going to be almost like the current affairs, the news of the paranormal kind of show.
And what we needed some sort of sound effect of a news ticker, like the news from the paranormal.
Well, yeah, that we could do that. We could do that.
We could just record that.
Yeah.
We could just record.
No, not record me, because my voice is like.
Well, actually, I think that sounded quite fun.
Yeah, it's quite simple, straight to the point, and as you did it, there's no copyright issue.
Well, what I will do then, we will record that when my voice is a little bit better, and we can then just put it in for future shows, like the news typewriter going. The news for the paranormal this week is.
Exactly. And I even think we should get Mark to scream his aliens and get that recorded and use that as a soundbite too. Save his throat. Because he's getting a little hoarse, keep doing that, isn't he? Particularly, he's having to do that in public now as well.
He loves a public alien going.
He's got a little horse as well as a bike.
Mate, seriously, that man has got quite a few things. Anyway, so we've been looking at things that have been going on, things you may have seen on the socials, and we're going to have a little look at these stories, and we're going to see what we think of them. Now, this first article I saw, and you can guarantee that it was nothing, because they all thought, oh yeah, we can talk about UFO sightings and all sorts. Me, I pop up with a bit of historical facts and came up with King Tutankhamun's tomb or coffin being opened. Now, I don't know a lot about this because obviously all I know is Carter discovered it. There was supposed to be a curse, and I kind of know that side of it a little bit, but that's a bit unfounded.
The weird thing about it is many years ago, when my one and only trip to Egypt, when I was 17, 18, we went to the Cairo Museum. Mm-hmm. We saw the sarcophagus, and then we saw the amazing face mask.
Yes. See?
Which makes me ask this question. If they're saying the tomb's being opened, or the sarcophagus being opened, how did they get the head mask off the mummy?
Yes, I thought this.
What they done when they got when the king died, he wasn't obviously dead in his sarcophagus. He was dead.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying as soon as they died they ran this. They ran this.
They done the mask before he got put into the sarcophagus.
Yeah,
but how did they get it out? Because if they're only just opening it, this is the point, isn't it? If they're only just opening the coffin, there were 3 coffins. This is the other thing I didn't realise about Tutankhamun's thingy. I thought the mask you want, like the famous iconic Tutankhamun thing, that I thought that was what it was. Does that make sense? But apparently it's not.
No, it's not. I mean, you're. I suppose in a way you're thinking almost like a Turin shroud type thing.
Oh, kind
that
of.
Was
no, the one you see is like the famous. It's all gold inlaid, and it's like the mask. It's like a. I thought that was the sarcophagus. I thought that was it. But inside that, then obviously would be mummified remains of the boy. Child, king thing, right?
They obviously put the face mask before they put him into the sarcophagus. If they've got it handy without actually opening the sarcophagus,
so it must be there on top of it.
Must be, yeah.
Because they said there are 3. Now, the interesting bits about this, and I can see you. Don't worry. Is there were bits missing. Yeah. The actual mummy itself is deteriorating quite a lot, which is why they're opening it so they can preserve it, right? But I'm sure I saw a programme on this and they'd already had it out.
Well, okay, I will give you what I remember when I went, and obviously it's a few years ago. Like I said, I was like 17, 18 years old. I went to Egypt, went to the Cairo Museum. we saw in the perspex the sarcophagus, which is what I would describe in modern day terms as, say, the coffin.
Yeah.
So big stone thing, ornamented, gold on top, hands, da-da-da-da-da. And then next to it was the inner sarcophagus.
Mm.
All right. Then after that was something else. But the thing that everybody knows about Tutankhamun is the death mask.
Yeah.
The ornamental gold, the blue, and everything like that.
Yeah.
I remember that being to the side.
No, see, I don't.
Yes.
I remember that being intact.
No. As in to the side, intact, next to the thing I was wandering around. And I know this thing has been around probably the whole of the world. It spent a lot of time in the UK at the National History Museum. But I thought, and I might be wrong, and Paul probably might know a little bit more about it. I thought it was like one of those Russian dolls. So you have the big thing, you open it up, and you get smaller thing till you get to the Kinder Surprise.
Yeah, if you go to Egypt into some of the tombs and stuff, there are stone coffins.
Well, that's what's in the report now. That is the sarcophagus, isn't it? That's the big thing in the thing that was in the museum in the perspex.
Mm.
Yeah, and then inside that would be the actual coffin, and then the mummy would be inside that.
Yeah, so it was like I said, I wasn't being flippant. It is a bit like a Russian doll. You open another thing, and then you get to the mummy. But I thought that the mummy, the bandages, everybody thinks of the bandages.
Yeah.
I thought the death mask was on the mummy with the bandages. So the mummy was in. What? I don't know what it's called.
Yeah. So it's like the Turin shroud when they have the body and then they wrap. And
then the death mask, the famous Tutankhamun death mask, was then put over the mummified body. That
Apparently
was then put into a little box, and then that was then put into the sarcophagus, the big stone thing.
No, apparently Tutankhamun's sarcophagus is in 3 stages, like you said, like the doll thing, right? But the mask was actually on the outer sarcophagus. So they've not actually gone into the mummy.
If you look at the outer sarcophagus, that is got gold and everything like that, but that is engraved.
Well,
the death mask is something that has a hole in it because I've seen it.
Yeah, no,
and it looks like a head thing that goes over the body.
It couldn't have been because 2 of the 3 coffins, when Carter discovered this in the Valley of the Kings, okay, there were 3 coffins. 2 of the 3 coffins were transported to the Egyptian Museum in Cairo. The outer coffin was left in the king's tomb.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm listening.
97 years later, the casket was removed under intense security in order for it to be fumigated for an entire week because of the spores, if you remember rightly. Waving your hand.
Can I just say something?
Yeah.
The link that you sent through actually shows the different levels.
Yes.
So there's a bigger box.
Yeah.
In that big box is a smaller sarcophagus, which had the ordained thing on top.
Yeah.
And they're just shown at the moment. The actual famous thing, which looks like a body would actually fit into it, was actually in one of the as you went down the levels.
Yeah. But that's not what they're doing. They're actually looking at the mummy now, aren't they? And looking at restoring that. See, I didn't say the things you think you know. That's I think the point of this article for me was when I read it, I learnt something that I didn't know about this because, like, my perception was they found the ornate coffin, not it was in levels and stuff, and I didn't realise. I thought the Tutankhamun was inside that, and he wasn't.
Yeah.
He was back in Cairo.
this article's a bit misleading, to be truthfully honest, because I glanced over it, but at the bottom of it is a load of series of photographs and shows the different formats. So basically, when Carter found the tomb and got into the tomb, it was basically in a big box. When he opened that box, there was the sarcophagus, which you can see in Cairo Museum. They also opened that to then see another inner box. When it was sent to Cairo University, which is now the Cairo Museum, they have basically unwrapped everything. So from the big box, which they left at the tomb, they took the big sarcophagus, took it back to Cairo, opened that, then they took the smaller one out and took the smaller one out, to the point where you can actually see the linen-wrapped mummy of King Tutankhamun displayed in a climate-controlled glass case in the underground tomb at KV62. So they've basically done this work actually at the tomb where they found it. So they've taken the actual main artefacts back to the actual place, the Valley of the Kings, where they found it, and you can actually see the different layers of the tomb. And one of them is the linen-wrapped mummy of Tutankhamun. So this is when you basically, it's like the King. I don't want to say the Kinder Surprise but that's how I think our listeners will probably understand it. Is you open it and open it, you take the tinfoil off, and then you're there with the prize. And I think this is what it is. It's the linen-wrapped body of the young King Tutankhamun.
Yeah. Paul, didn't you watch a documentary on this? Didn't they X-ray it before?
They would have done. They would have X-rayed it and stuff like that. Yeah.
And isn't that how they found out that he died to a blow to the head?
I believe so. It was a long time ago when I see this documentary, but I'm sure that they did discover that that's how he died. Yeah.
It is fascinating, though, isn't it? All this stuff from Egypt, really. I mean, I have to say, I learned something from this particular article because I wasn't aware of the levels of coffinage, I suppose.
Well,
I knew the curse factor on this.
Like Kerry said, I didn't know about that. They took the whole thing off to the Cairo Museum. They basically took it down to the basic levels. They put it back together, and then they sent it back to the actual tomb to produce a museum-type attraction. Mm-hmm. And basically the other bits that they found in the sarcophagus as they went through it, whether it was the inner, outer, inner, whatever, they then displayed that around the world, which is where the death mask, which I was talking about earlier, that was then portrayed all around the world, which is the iconic symbol of Tutankhamun, which is that gold thing with the blue death mask.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just the head and the shoulders. But that was found as they unwrapped it before they got to the stage where it was the linen-wrapped mummy.
Mm-hmm.
That was on top of it. They then took that off and then they unwrapped so they unboxed. So I honestly thought that thing, as we said earlier, was in one of the sarcophagus and nobody was wearing it. But according to what I can see, he was wearing it, but you took it off and then you went down and down and down and down. So, like I said, it was a bit like the Russian doll syndrome.
Yeah.
Yeah, fascinating one, though, this one. I'm looking for the link now. I've lost the link. I don't know where I've put
But he was only a boy, wasn't he?
He was, yeah. He was quite young.
He wasn't like one of the older pharaohs that had been in power for a long time. He was only there for a very, very short period of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, wasn't he something like 14?
Yeah. Oh, he was ever so young. I remember that.
Young, wasn't he? Yeah.
Because they didn't actually know about him until they actually found the tomb, did they?
No.
Because Carter was actually looking for another tomb when he found this tomb of Tutankhamun.
Yeah, this is true. Anyway, Paul, an interesting one to the table. this week. Interesting in regards to this happened over London. Do you want to tell us about this one?
Paul or me?
Paul.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, right, yeah. On Tuesday, apparently, quite a few people saw a fireball flying across the sky in London. It happened around, I believe, about 5 to 8, quarter to 8, something like that. So just before my show. And, it was witnessed by quite a few different people. It hit social media and sort of gone viral from there. And that's about it, really. Yeah.
Yeah, but this isn't the first time something like this has happened, because we had that famous one a couple of weeks ago from Russia, where there was a security camera that was just filming a car park, and you see the flaming meteor literally come straight across the car park and disappear into the horizon.
Mm.
So these things happen all the time.
Yeah, I do think it is quite a common occurrence, but I think most of the time it happens over the sea, or over the seas, and we don't really notice it. But just because it happened over London, obviously a lot of people.
Everybody thinks aliens are attacking and this, that, and the other. But I agree with you, Paul, completely. These things happen. I think happen a lot of the time. Everybody has seen this. Well, I'm hoping. It's an amazing sight to see, but people see shooting stars in the night sky. And at the end of the day, that's just the same thing, but further away from the atmosphere. When they get to a point, and if you go, there's a website you can go onto, which looks at near misses, which is it's kind of freaky to actually go onto. But NASA does this near misses, which look at stuff that basically bounces off the atmosphere.
Yeah, you can get an app that tells you what's hitting the atmosphere, what's coming through the atmosphere, what's in the skies above you.
And as they get bigger, they get through the atmosphere. And then they can project things that potentially are going to wipe out the universe.
When they talk about
green. I love that.
Yeah, when they talk about near misses, it's not necessarily, skimming the planet. No. That a near miss could be something 2,000 miles from the Earth. So really, it is quite a common occurrence that things do whiz past us.
And also the amount of space junk that NASA, Russia, and every other power have left up there, which is I didn't realise until I looked at this, the amount of reported cases around the world where people report of seeing, like you say, this light in the sky, and then all of a sudden they find metal in their garden flaming.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's basically junk from satellites, or it's a satellite, or it's this, that, and the other.
Space junk.
And, but there's a great video, I don't know whether you guys have seen it, where there's this person sitting on his porch in America, rocking up and down on a rocking chair, chewing the fat, eating tobacco and all that sort of stuff, and he sees this thing come out and it hits one of his trees, and he wanders up to this tree, and this tree is burning from the inside because it's had a direct hit into the middle of the tree but hasn't split the tree. And it's just glowing red. It's burning from the inside of the tree outwards. And it's crazy because these things happen all the time, but like Paul said, I think a lot of it doesn't hit the headlines because it doesn't hit land. As everybody says, everybody knows that this planet is made up of more water than land.
It is quite frightening because, there's a report as well that someone was on an aeroplane. It was UAL 934, and they could say they see the fireball just looking out the window.
Yeah.
Now, can you imagine the destruction that would have caused if it had hit that plane?
Gosh.
Yeah. Well, you know what a bird can do to a plane.
Exactly.
One of these flaming things. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, they're common, but they're to the size where they produce the flaming balls in the air is very, very rare, because most of the time these things just bounce off the atmosphere and disappear, where you see the shooting stars type of things. But sometimes a big mass crashes through our atmosphere, burns up to a point where it's burning up still, and then hits the deck. Mm-hmm. And obviously big things that burn up, you look at the place in Russia, and there's a place in Russia which has the biggest crater. It's like about 3.5 miles wide, where this meteor hit. I think, but then most of the time it's small things like golf ball size, hockey ball size, football size, but there's nothing big like you see in films and stuff.
There's nothing,
but potentially you don't know what's flying towards this planet.
Exactly, yeah. And I mean, there's no reports that it actually made land.
No.
It was just that it was a giant. This person reports a green glow from it.
Yeah.
So it is literally just entered the atmosphere and burnt up before it hit. Which obviously I think we were thankful for.
But it glows green, right? You wouldn't expect that. You would expect it to be a fiery ball, and that, like you said, right? That is kind of probably where a lot of the UFO sightings maybe come from people that are not really sort of ufology people, if that makes sense.
I think especially when it comes to the ancient civilizations and things like that, where they this sort of thing, and obviously they didn't have the understanding that we've got now. So you can understand where these alien stories could have come from if it was an astrological event.
Well,
like
you go back to the Mayans and them worshipping the sun god, and they say there was like big balls of light in the sky before things happened in the world. Like this, the god was unhappy and it sent down their chariots of fire, and things happened in that. That to me is a meteor strike, because they describe a chariot, they see a big ball of light in the sky, then all of a sudden the land rumbles and the ecosystem changes. That to me sounds like a meteor strike.
Mm.
Yeah.
But back in those days when they didn't realise that sort of weird and wonderful stuff going on, and they think there is people up there riding flaming chariots around the sky, hanging out with the Jamaican aliens and all that sort of stuff, you haven't got a clue what they're thinking. But when you look at it now, in nowadays eyes, they report these cases. There was a big flaming thing in the sky, the ground rumbled, and the ecosystem changed. That, to me, meteor hits the ground, causes the ground to rumble, you got a bit of a change in the weather.
Yeah, I know. And also, going back in the day, if you think about it in regards to what the planet was like, it was a lot more volatile than it is now. They say we're actually going through a period of very settled. We're coming up to probably another time where it's going to rumble around. But in recent history, it's been, I know there's been a few big events, but generally speaking, it's been very settled. Now, back in the Mediterranean, when we was looking at the Atlanta show, around that time there was a lot of volcanic activity, a lot of earthquakes, all that sort of thing going on. Quite dramatic ones as well. So if you couple these events together, you can kind of build a picture of where the stories came from, can't you?
Yeah, exactly. But you look at modern day time. We've not really had. Now, I don't want to sound this in the wrong way, and I apologise if people will take this in the wrong way. Natural disasters, tsunamis, earthquakes, volcanoes erupting. We've had little stuff, but we haven't had anything recently. As in, you look at America, you look at the fault in California. We haven't had a big earthquake move on that front since whenever. Mm. I think the last time we had a major fault was obviously the horrendous, saddening tsunami on Boxing Day in Thailand area. And I've been there, and I witnessed the scene 6 years after when I went to Thailand, and seeing the devastation, still to that day, the devastation. But we haven't had anything major like that for a long time. Yes, we've obviously had recently. We had the earthquake in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably the last biggie potential thing. But we haven't had anything. Okay, yes, the UK's had a few little shaky bed moments because we're kind of on a fault. But we're looking at, say, the big fault lines, say the San Andreas fault in California, and obviously the faults over the Arctic, and then you've got the Japan faults in that area. And that's the thing. We haven't had a major one for a long, long time. And people, and on the scientists, and people say, we are due a biggie.
It's hardly surprising, but because of just how the world works. Do you know what I mean?
The planet moves.
And how it moves, yeah. But back in the day, it was, in that area, it was a lot more volatile. So these kind of occurrences that were happening in the skies above, it does kind of sort of give it, that's where the stories come from. It was just the language that's changed, whereas we're taking a chariot riding across the sky with fiery wings as an actual physical chariot with physical gold wings or whatever. And it may have been something like this. I mean, I know this one was green, but, there are other occurrences. Now, before we shut down this show, there's one last story that I got sent. I love this. I blinking well love this one. It is so batshit crazy that whatever you do, you can't disagree that it is totally batshit crazy.
Okay.
It is a conspiracy theory, guys.
And my partner...
Can I do an impression of Catherine Tate's Nana at this point?
We'll just go for it, and then I will go into batshit crazy.
I think everyone can guess what I was going to say, but...
Without my partner in crime, Mr. Mark Manley, who is currently hugging a toilet somewhere. But yeah, there's this crazy thing. Looking at the paranormal, you get seeing these things on your social media, Facebook things. But this thing absolutely jumped out at me.
It's
You've
crazy.
got two pictures.
Okay.
No, forget about the information underneath. You've got two pictures, which kind of look the same. You've got a picture of Jimi Hendrix, and then you've got a picture of modern-day Morgan Freeman. The actor. Shawshank Redemption, all those sort of films. Jimi Hendrix killed himself.
Sorry.
Whatever. But there's this conspiracy that has come out in the last week and a bit that Jimi Hendrix reinvented himself as Morgan Freeman in the 1970s. Basically faked his death and then basically became Morgan Freeman and became this world-famous actor. According to an online conspiracy theorist, Morgan Freeman's sudden rise to fame in the 70s occurred after Hendrix supposedly died on September the 18th, 1970.
The links into this are so tenuous.
However,
it's untrue.
The unlikely does not have holes. As one online user points out, Freeman started his acting career as an extra approximately 5 years before Jimi Hendrix made his first public appearance. So remember that, guys. We're talking batshit crazy conspiracy theories here. Also, Freeman was in a US film caught in the middle while Hendrix was busy touring Europe shortly before his death. That would have made Hendrix transition into Morgan nothing but miraculous. The bizarre theory is presented. Here we go. Are we listening? Have I got everybody's attention?
Mm-hmm. Oh, you've got our total attention.
Shit, crazy conspiracy. I love it. So, Jimi Hendrix, born 27th of November 1942. Allegedly died 18th of September 1970. He was a guitarist and singer and songwriter, which we all know who Jimi Hendrix was. And lived in the UK for a lot of years. Born in Seattle, played guitar, enlisted in the US Army, blah blah blah. Getting up, became famous, and all this sort of stuff. And it was major hit. played the Woodstock Festival in 1969, the famous Isle of Wight Festival in the UK in 1970, just before he died.
Oh,
died from a overdose of a drug on September the 18th, 1970, at the age of 27. He was discovered while in... Yeah, so we'll just carry on. But then all of a sudden, Morgan Freeman then came on, who happened to have a mysterious auto accident around about the same time. So there was distortions in his face. People thought they looked the same. Ooh. So it goes on, and they look at the different ways that Morgan Freeman and Jimi Hendrix and all this sort of stuff. So, all I want to say to the listeners on the Dark Mirror Show, you've listened to us for many, many years. You know we like a good conspiracy theory. We like to look at batshit crazy stuff. Jamaican aliens sitting on the rim of the moon watching the moon landings, down to all the weird and wonderful things that we discuss. Can I just ask for an opinion? You can get in touch on social media. All the links will be in the chat room. Who in their right mind, probably thinking the earth is flat on the flat thing, that Jimi Hendrix is Morgan Freeman? Over to you.
Well, I personally love this theory. I think it is so funny that people are believing this, but not checking their facts. I mean, I have to say, there is a disclaimer on the actual article itself. I've shared all the links to all the articles we've spoken about tonight. If you want to have a look at those, don't forget, go into the chat room, which you can still access after the show. You'll find the links there. But it does actually say that it is extremely unlikely to be true.
Well, one of the worst
extremely
things,
unlikely.
one of the funniest
It's
things about
not likely at all.
Obviously, Jimi Hendrix was born at a certain time. He was 27 when he died, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Freeman was born in 1937. When Jimi Hendrix died, he would have been a lot older.
But this is typical of conspiracy theorists, to be fair. They won't always believe the facts that are out there. And they take points without looking at the whole picture. I mean, it's just like, oh, yeah, there's a resemblance, possibly, is there?
You look at
a certain angle.
You look at a photo between Morgan Freeman and Jimi Hendrix smiling in a particular way. They look the same.
I disagree. I just think it's literally pose.
There are similarities, but
but one thing that I would personally say, look at the teeth position and the gaps between the teeth.
Yeah, look at things like that.
That's my only.
On the other hand,
I love a conspiracy theory, but this particular one, if it was like thumbs up, thumbs down, or a raspberry, this would definitely be a thumbs down raspberry.
I mean, on the other hand, right, I can understand a famous person faking their death because they're sick and tired of the press and everything.
Yes, and there's other conspiracies out there, Paul. There are definitely multiple conspiracies out of famous people.
That's bog standard, right? But
I can understand that.
But who would in their right mind would go from being a famous celebrity, faking their death, and becoming another famous celebrity?
Exactly. You wouldn't.
That's a load of...
You would be like Elvis. Faked his death and was the game. Was
come
the
back as something else.
Memphis.
Yeah, I mean, why would you do that?
You wouldn't go into the public eye.
No.
Really?
You wouldn't. If you're going to go to that length to fake your own death, you're going into complete seclusion.
Exactly. You would look at people like Howard Hughes, who everybody thought had died years before he actually did die, but he basically became a hermit and this, that, and the other, and wouldn't touch anybody because of germophobia. Everybody thought he died, but then he wasn't. But from somebody that wanted to get away from the limelight, would then morph into somebody who is now a world-famous actor, which on social media has probably died this year alone about 6 times. The fake things about Morgan Freeman's died. and you get a post.
Yeah.
No, I haven't. I'm still here.
Yeah, poor old Morgan. Best voice in the industry, though, I would just like to say that.
Yeah.
And on one last
I
note...
want to ask a question to you and Paul. Best Morgan Freeman film?
Shawshank Redemption.
I'm with you, because of the narration.
Yeah.
I like Shawshank Redemption, but I also like the film with Kerry when he played God.
Yes.
Oh, Evan Almighty.
Yeah, the
yes,
first
he's
one,
good at that.
not the second one with the Ark. The first one.
Yeah.
He's just got a very hypnotic voice, hasn't he? It's very iconic, his voice. You know it the minute you hear it.
You can get sat-navs to
Cool.
this day. I can download on my car my sat-nav, and I can download Morgan Freeman to give me directions.
Exactly.
But I'll never do it because I'll end up probably falling asleep before I actually made the turning.
And on one last note, talking of voices, he has a very iconic voice. I'm assuming there must be a speaking voice recording of Jimi Hendrix. And isn't the voice pattern one of the most indicating of...
Funny enough, you read the whole report and they give multiple layers of how they believe it is, even down to the most obscure thing about he was dodging the army or he was involved in crime, this, that and the other. But nobody actually mentions the voice.
Exactly. Anyway, we've decided that one's complete bunkum. And anyway, Jimi Hendrix actually works down Richard's local chip shop anyway. And on that bombshell, we have actually come to the end of the Dark Mirror show. I will be back with you on Sunday evening at 9 p.m. I have got a special interview lined up for you with the amazingly lovely Access Paranormal Beth Darlington in the studio. Pardon?
Sorry, I was just waiting for you to finish, Karen.
Oh, Beth Darlington will be in the studio kicking off live at 9 p.m. And that's about it. If you miss any of our shows,
you know where to go.
Where do we need to go, guys?
And we will just get Paul to do the most amazing tagline. Paul, what do they need to do when they want to see a show?
They need to do what Kerry says every week.
They need to go over to YouTube, find our YouTube channel, Parasearch Radio, and click like, share, and subscribe.
See, I'm never going to take that away from Kerry.
I'm just seeing if you were awake, Paul. And I would just like to say, I'll be back on the show Thursday. On Thursday, I won't be on Dark Mirror next week because I will be in Vegas. So I will probably see, or you will hear my dulcet tones probably in a couple of weeks when I come back from Vegas. But keep an eye out on social media, on the radio channel for live updates and shows from Vegas, Area 51, and various other weird and wonderful locations when I fly out to the States with my lovely co-host Sam. We're going to do, particularly now we've got a case to actually go into. We're going to investigate. We're going all over. So, yeah, we'll keep you updated, but I'll be back in a couple of weeks live from the UK. But I might pop up in a couple of shows next week.
You never know. And it's Vegas, baby. That's what we will be saying all next week. It's Vegas, baby. Anyway, what was I going to say? Over on our website, you can find all of our blogs. An amazingly funny one has just gone up from our lovely Mark Manley himself, all about the haunted tattoos theory we discussed. So, on that note, we will see you all very soon, Sunday evening, 9 p.m. Beth Darlington. Don't forget. Say good night, guys.
TTFN.
Good night and Vegas, baby.
Thank you for listening. Don't forget to join us for more shows throughout the week. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and the World Wide Web to keep up to date with all the shows right here on Parasearch Radio.